fight fans? The Terence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov showdown on August 3rd has ignited a firestorm of debate. Is the pound-for-pound king biting off more than he can chew against the Uzbek beast? Or will Crawford's sublime skills carry him to yet another world title? We've got all the juicy predictions from pros and fans alike. And let me tell you, opinions are all over the map on this one. Let's set the stage with what some big names in boxing are saying. Tim Bradley is giving Madrimov a real shot, highlighting trainer Joel Diaz's experience in training high-level fighters, which he believes will benefit Madrimov. He states that Crawford will have to earn his victory and that the fight won't be an easy walkover.
Well, first of all, let's talk about Joel Diaz because Diaz has experience in facing Crawford. I remember when he had, who was it? It was actual Diaz. It was at 100 and I believe it was 140 pounds. He faced the Olympian. I forget his first name right off the top, but it's a southpaw gold medalist. Well, Felix Diaz. Yeah, Felix Diaz. And also, he also had him in a training camp with myself, 2 times on 2 occasions. And Joel knows what he's up against, believe it or not. We accomplished 5 world championships together. He told me exactly how my career was going to go, and it went exactly like how he said it was going to go. So he has experience, unlike other trainers that never done it at the professional level or ever been a prize fighter. He has experience to be able to tell Madrimov exactly what he needs to do, how he needs to behave, what's going to happen once he gets to the show, what Crawford's going to do, or at least attempt to do. So he has a ton of information to be able to share with Madrimov. It's not a far-gone conclusion that Crawford just going to go in there and walk through Madrimov. Crawford definitely going to have to earn his money that night and to win the championship, but I'm expecting a hell of a fight coming when they step foot inside that ring.
Paulie Malignaggi praises Crawford's versatility, praising his multiple dimensions and layers in his fighting style, noting his ability to fight in both stances. However, he's expressing concern about Crawford's age, saying father time might finally catch up to the 36-year-old. He sees Madrimov as a serious threat.
So many layers to his style, and layers to the style in both stances. There's layers in each stance that he fights in is multiple layers to that style. Plus he's got both stances to begin with. So Crawford is just amazing on so many aspects. And that's why he's the best fighter in the world right now. But at the age he's fighting, you just don't know if one fight to the next, you step into the ring and you got old. It's one of those things where it happens at this age. It can happen at this age. We haven't seen any signs of it, and you wonder. But of course, you got to always keep that in mind that, Crawford can step in the ring and maybe it's not quite the same Crawford as you got used to seeing as the Crawford we gotten to know and love. Having said that, we haven't seen that yet.
Chris Algieri points to Madrimov's strength and athleticism as potential X factors. He thinks the Uzbek's combo of power and skill could give Crawford the edge. He also went on to note the Uzbek's confidence in his weight class. He agrees with Bradley on the importance of Diaz's experience and guidance for Madrimov.
I think it's a big threat. I think Madrimov, I've called a number of his fights on the way up. He doesn't have that much pro experience, but he's got a tremendous amateur background. He's physically strong. He's a good-sized junior middleweight. He's super athletic. He's one of those guys who does backflips after his fights. I've seen him do things in the ring that speaks to his athleticism, his strength, his physical power, and obviously he's got the boxing skill. He's very, very confident. He said, "This is my weight class. He's coming up to my weight class. This is Crawford's 4th attempt at a different weight class, fighting for a world title, and he's got a guy there who wants to defend what he's got." And I think Madrimov has the right idea. I think the Joel Diaz aspect is really important, as Tim Bradley, ESPN analyst, mentioned, and. I like that little Bivol story as well, because it just gives you to the mindset of what's going on in that gym.
Eddie Hearn is going all in on the upset, flat out predicting Madrimov will hand Crawford his first L. He is throwing his weight behind his fighter. He boldly claims, "I think they're underestimating him. He's extremely tough, he hits very hard, and it's all like Canelo after this." Don't get me wrong, Crawford is the favorite in the fight, but Madrimov is a very, very tough fight.
I think he's a very, very good fighter. He's extremely tough. He hits very, very hard, and it's all like, Canelo after this, after this, after. Like, don't get me wrong, Crawford's the favourite in the fight. But Madrimov is a very, very tough fighter. He's got great movement. He's a fit, strong guy in his prime. As I said, punches very hard, and that's not an easy fight.
Meanwhile, Virgil Ortiz is riding with Crawford, calling him a different beast that only he could beat at 150. He's predicting a win for Bud, saying, "Here's the thing. I'm not criticizing Madrimov. I think he's a good and smart fighter. It's just that Crawford is a different beast. I don't think anybody but me can beat him at featherweight." Now let's dig into why this fight has everyone talking. Crawford's moving up to 154 for the first time, chasing a title in his 4th weight class. at 36 and coming off a long layoff, some wonder if he's bitten off more than he can chew. Madrimov might only have 11 pro fights, but don't let that fool you. The dude had over 300 amateur bouts and adapted to the pro game like a fish to water. As Bradley pointed out, this dude had 300 amateur fights. He's a pro. The Uzbek's physique has caught everyone's attention too. Eddie Hearn even dubbed him 154 Drago, a nod to the hulking Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. With GG-like power and a frame built for the division, Madrimov's a far cry from the smaller guys Crawford's been beating up. But let's not forget, we're talking about Terrence "Bud" Crawford here. The man's a 3-division champ who just undressed Errol Spence Jr. He's got that dog in him, switching stances and adapting mid-fight like nobody else. Some fans, though, are sensing upset potential. One ex-user admitted, "I'm having serious doubts that Crawford is actually going to beat this unit of a super welterweight. I know it's crazy thinking, but this 154 Drago is giving me the heebie-jeebies." Others are dismissing the hype. Bud gonna dominate every second of every round and put him in the dirt, another fan confidently declared. Same story, every time since he moved up to 147 lbs. Madrimov doesn't have a prayer. The size difference has plenty of folks worried for Crawford. You got to have a measure of anxiety facing a man of his amateur pedigree, training, and mentality, one commenter noted. But Crawford's supporters aren't buying it. "Rest easy. Skills pay the bills," a fan fired back. "This is not a bodybuilding contest. Besides, Bud has some rather insane power lifts. Some see a more competitive affair brewing. I think Madrimov will be Crawford's toughest test to date," one fan analyzed. "I am confident he will hurt and maybe drop Crawford at some point. But whether it will all be enough for Madrimov to get the nod, I don't know. The experience gap has others convinced Crawford's in for an easy night." Am I missing something, or are people arguing that a guy with only 11 professional fights is going to give Terrence Crawford problems? One skeptic asked. But Madrimov supporters are quick to point out his extensive amateur background. As one fan explained, Madrimov had roughly 300 fights in the amateurs and competed at the world level multiple times. He was moved fast, beat a number of fringe contenders at 154 to go up in the rankings, then get a title shot against Kurbanov, who isn't a bad fighter in his own right. Some see Madrimov as Crawford's toughest test yet. Madrimov is the best opponent Crawford could find, and in my opinion, the best opponent he has faced to date by a considerable amount, one fan boldly claimed. Others aren't buying the hype. "Come on, let's get real. Kell Brook is the best opponent Bud has faced," a Crawford backer argued. "This is a KO win for Crawford. People will get hyped up for a couple of rounds while Bud figures him out, and then he will pick him apart." The clash of styles has many intrigued. Crawford has elite skills and excellent overall boxing ability, but there are a lot of variables to consider in this fight, one fan broke down. Madrimov has skills as well as experience, power, a good chin, and a no-quit mentality. This is no walk in the park for Crawford, like many are thinking. Madrimov himself exudes confidence heading into the biggest fight of his life. "I know what I'm capable of," he told reporters. "I know this fight is important for me, my family, for my legacy, and the whole country. I've got a whole country on my back supporting me." The Uzbek isn't fazed by doubters. All the people talking, "Who's this guy with 10 fights? He doesn't belong there and this and that." "That's not something that bothers me," Madrimov declared. "I'm mentally very stable about it. And I know that if I'm given an opportunity, then I deserve it. And I know what I had to go through to get here." Crawford, meanwhile, is laser-focused on the task at hand. "My mind is crystal clear, and that's August 3rd against Israel Madrimov," he stated. "I'm not thinking about or worrying about Canelo or anyone else for that matter."
My mind is crystal clear on one thing, and that's August 2nd, and that's Israel Madrimov. I'm not thinking about, worried about Canelo or anyone else for that matter. August 3rd is the only fight that's in the back of my mind and in the front of my mind, side of my mind. So, yeah, that answers your question.
What's something about your opponent's fighting style that you respect, that you've been kind of training for and you're hoping to, like, I guess neutralize would be the word when you go up against him?
Well, just everything about him. You know, he's a decorated amateur. He got a lot of experience in the amateur field. He may only have 11 fights. He's 11 fights in the world champion for a reason. So he's strong. I got to respect everything about him. You know, just like I got to respect everything about any other opponent that I've been in the ring with. Because everybody brings something different to the game.
Bud's supreme confidence remains intact. "My mindset is always, win at all costs," Crawford explained. "Make sure I'm coming in at 110% shape and prepared for whatever the opponent brings to the table." A lot of people ask me, "What have you got to do to win a fight?" And I always say, just be myself. I always say that because I obviously feel that I'm Terrence Crawford and can't nobody beat me unless I beat myself. The size difference looms large in many minds. Crawford's moving up from 147, while Madrimov's a natural 154-pounder with serious pop. Can Bud's sublime skills overcome the physical disadvantage? Madrimov's team claims they've spotted weaknesses in Crawford's game. We have some things we've been watching, the Uzbek teased. We're not going to talk about it right now. Crawford's age and inactivity are other X factors. At 36 and coming off a year-long layoff, will we see any signs of decline? Or will the extra rest have Bud fresh and ready to dominate? The threat of overlooking Madrimov is real. With Canelo Alvarez potentially looming for Crawford, some worry he might not be fully focused on the dangerous Uzbek in front of him. Madrimov's power is a major talking point. He's shown GDG-like thump in his brief pro career. If he lands clean on Crawford early, it could change the entire complexion of the fight. Crawford's adaptability remains his greatest. His ability to switch stances and make mid-fight adjustments is unparalleled. Even if Madrimov finds early success, many expect Bud to solve the puzzle. The boxing world seems split down the middle on this one. Is Crawford biting off more than he can chew? Or will his generational talent shine through once again? One thing's for sure, August 3rd can't come soon enough. This clash of styles and storylines has fight fans salivating. Will we see Crawford add another chapter to his legacy? Or will Madrimov announce himself as boxing's next superstar? Let us know your predictions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the build-up to this epic showdown. We'll be breaking down all the angles as fight night approaches. Until next time, keep those hands up and chins down.